On this week of Flying Doodles, we fly with Philip in his impeccable 1959 Piper Apache. The PA-23-150 Apache hit the market in 1954, evolving to 160 horsepower engines in 1957. The Art Deco paint job and the roomy interior make it a comfortable airplane for 4 or 5 people. The handsome fella in the back is my husband Cole, who tagged along on the flight because he's interested in finishing up his multi-rating. Thank you, Philip, for an awesome ride.
Okay, my name is Philip Sybil. This is my 1959 Piper Apache. We've had the airplane for just about a year now. We purchased it after a long, almost 8-year restoration of the airplane. So we got the airplane in really good shape. The engines were low time. The props had just been overhauled and converted to the B hub so that they don't have the continuous AD on them. The hard cell prop, if it's got an A hub, requires a yearly eddy current check on to see if it cracks or not. And these hubs are the B, and the bigger spinners for the Geronimo conversion go on this airplane with this hub, and that's how you can tell the difference between the Apaches. If they have the little short, small nose cone there, the A hub. This is a 160 version. It was not used as a trainer in its life. I've got the history all the way back from delivery from the factory. It was always a personal airplane, and it's got somewhere around 5,000 to 5,500 hours on it. The engines, like I said, have got mid-time, so they're about 1,000 hours on each. Props are brand new. The bladders were replaced in the overhaul. It was repainted, as you can see, when they did that, and over the course of them working on it, they've chipped the paint in various different places, but it's still a really nice paint job. It's the classic Piper 3-tone paint job, which is nice. I like the Art Deco. It does have the lift wingtips and the speed wingtips on it that didn't come with it originally. They were elliptic, but most every Apache I've seen have the modification because it does make a difference in lift. The airplane will rotate at 60 miles an hour. It climbs. It likes to climb about 105. Blue line, which is best single engine climb, is 105, so I tend to climb about 110, 115 to be over blue line in case I do lose an engine. Depending on density, altitude, it'll climb max power about 2,000 foot a minute, so that's pretty nice. Anything's better than a 150 on a day like today. The fuel burn is 8 aside, so total 16 crews. It's got 36 gallons in the main tanks, and it's got 18 gallons in the tip tanks. So it's got roughly 6.5 hours of fuel, depending on if you go to maximum efficiency. If you go down about 55% power at above 10,000 feet, you'll burn around 7 gallons an hour, and you're doing about 130 miles an hour. And they're known to have crossed the Gulf from New Orleans to Tampa, and they are a favorite airplane of the drug runners because they're 2 engines and they carry a lot. The useful load on this is almost 1,200 pounds, which is pretty good for, it makes it a true four-place airplane with the mains. It does have a 5th seat in it that came from the factory. As I was telling you, the baggage compartment's 100 pounds, so it's limited to 100 pounds. And it's one of the more comfortable twins I've been in it until you get into cabin class twins. It's wider up front than most. I think it's 3 inches wider than a 310, which is pretty nice. We're burning 8 gallons an hour, and right now we're running as often as we can. We're running MoGas in it. We've got the STC for it, so 360 to 380 is about what the gallon of gasoline is costing. It burns 8 aside, 16 gallons. It runs through about a half quart every 3 or 4 hours, so on each side, so a quart every 3 or 4 hours. And insurance, because one of the pilots, we have a partnership in this, there's 3 pilots, and one of our partners is below 1,000 hours total time, so the insurance is about $4,000 a year for the airplane. So
it's not terrible.
No, it's not. And as soon as Will gets his CFI and he gets above 1,000 hours, it'll go down to about $2,500 a year. Nolan's an MEI, double I, I'm a CFI, and Will's working on his CFI, so all of us will be able to help each other out for biennials and things. So that makes, you're asking me what it costs. It's kind of difficult to really know the exact operating costs, but the book values that I've seen say probably, if you're putting reserves back, which we do, about $100 an hour to operate the airplane, which is not that unreasonable. It was designed as a rag wing airplane and rag fuselage, so it was cloth covered like the Waco. So if you look up in there in the cabin, you'll see cabanes in there, and it's got a 4130 roll cage from the baggage compartment all the way forward, because that's what they were going to use for longerons to put the fabric on. And then they decided to put metal cladding over it, so it's one of the strongest twins as far as crash survivability, because it's got the 4130 tubing surrounding the cockpit, and it's got a modified Cherokee wing on it, and it lifts pretty much anything you put in the door, as long as you leave the axis empty and you limit the weight. But if it fits through the door, a pilot and just 36 gallons a side, it'll lift whatever you can put in it. So they call it the SUV of twins. It's not fast, it's not sports car, but it definitely does the job. I have been flying since I was a little boy. There's a picture of me in my mother's house of my father and I'm standing in the floorboard of an Electra, in Eastern Airlines Electra. My dad's sitting in the captain's chair, and he's got his arms just kind of around me, and I'm holding the yoke above my head, and I'm manipulating the yoke. I soloed when I was 16, got my license when I was 17. I learned to fly in a PA 18 Super Cub, 135 horse Super Cub, and my brother has that airplane now in Atlanta, and he flies for Delta. So we come from a flying family. My mother was a stewardess, not a flight attendant, and she'll tell you the difference. So for Eastern Airlines, and that's how my parents met. So and my brother went the commercial route. I came out of school, went to work for NASA, worked on the shuttle program. The shuttle program was for the International Space Station, and once we got almost completely built, they were starting to lay people off, and our contract was going to end and they weren't going to renew it. And so I got a wild hair and decided to become a cop, and did that for 15 years. And now I work in the oil field as an inspector, so I've got a diverse background. And I've always flown for pleasure, but I've flown a lot. Since we've had this airplane, we've put 150 hours on it already, so in a year, and that's light when we need to be flying it a little bit more than that. So it gets flown at least once a week because it's here in I live with it. So if nothing else, I get it up to temperature and fly it for 45 minutes or an hour so that everything keeps moving and lubricated. As you know, sitting airplanes don't do well. So.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Ready to go fly?
Absolutely. Let's go for a flight. Have you ever had a Flightcom Denali headset before?
I have not.
That's that brand, and there's a box, turn it on so that it's...
Traffic, 2120, turn
that's
base,
it.
final 364,
nice.
Okay, I'm waiting on the temperature to come up a little bit on the engines. It won't take very long at all.
Over the Navasota VOR at 3000, Navasota.
My shoes back there with the start. I don't fly with shoes. If that bugs you, let me know.
No, I don't care. And really, we paid for the avionics suite in this airplane for what we paid for the airplane. So,
yeah, so did all the avionics come with?
it all came with
Wow.
it. All right.
Yeah, it's a living room back here when y'all move forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of room back there. And I use CHG. We have a faulty sensor on number 3. The EGTs are going to show hot. It's not going to bother anything. That if you see them flashing, don't panic. I know it's going to flash. It might flash yellow, it might even flash red, depending on how long I leave the power up. But I'll probably pull the power back just so that it doesn't. But I want you, because you're a pilot, you'll go, oh my God, the EGT's are skyrocketing. Okay, mission prop, blah, blah, blah. After start, hydraulics, check.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the hydraulic system on this airplane. You know, is it pretty reliable?
Very reliable. The emergency is this handle.
Okay.
And all this is a valve selector. It selects which way the valve is opening and closing. So, I'm at the gear, I'm sorry. So the gear, if it's down and you pump, it'll pump it down. So
Gotcha.
if it's up and you want the gear to come up, you can pump it up. So that's kind of nice because you can get rid of the drag, and when you lose an engine and the airplane's very anemic, it's nice to get the drag up as much as possible. But that's if you're, you know, if you got enough altitude. It's the last thing you have to worry about. So, but it's got hydraulic flaps, electric hydraulic. The electric motor puts the pressure in the system and this is a actuator just like on the gear. It's an up and down, and the flaps don't indicate, but I visually look for them anyways. I don't use any on takeoff, and we use full flaps for landing, so it's not that difficult to remember what to do with it. It's very simple. There's a reservoir up here. There's a pump up underneath the spar in front of the spar box up in the belly, and that's where the two actuators are, so they're easy to service. But other than that, it's pretty simple. Got redundant electric fuel pumps left and right. Autopilot, it's an S-Tech 50, it's two Axis S-Tech 50, which is nice for altitude hold. And it follows the instrument approach. It's got GPS steering on it, so that's nice too.
It's a really nice panel. You say you bought it like this, right?
We bought it like this. It's one of the selling points of the airplane was this, because 80 was a little steep for this airplane at the market price. So we saw the avionics. It was pretty much a no-brainer.
How is it flying out of this airport? You guys stay pretty busy out here. How long is your trip?
It's 2,700 foot of grass.
Okay.
And the skydivers are busy, so you have to pay attention to what's going on, but they use the asphalt runway, so we shouldn't have any runway incursions. But I'd like to know where the chutes are, so right, left, forward, rim is set, pretty much neutral. A little bit of right rudder because it's nice not to have to push the right rudder pedal so hard in a twin, especially because these are not counter-rotating props. So
Gotcha.
I have a critical engine on the left side, and if it quits, that's the least of the manageable, and they're not. It's a non-event. I mean, it really is.
Navasota traffic.
Okay, run up.
17 Navasota.
Left mag, and it tells me. Right mag, and you know that it's quit.
That's nice.
Propeller. These are full feather and props, so if you pull it back and don't push it up quickly, it will feather on you, and you'll have to get it out of feather on the ground, and that's difficult to do. Carburetor heat's here. Pull the carburetor heat. Back to idle. Make sure it doesn't quit, and repeat. And you can feel the airplane wants to surge forward as you get the propeller. Cheers, Rich. Okay, seatbelts are on, everybody strapped in, everybody can hear me. If we have an abort, I will call it abort, 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 and we'll try not to run into the trees at the other end of the runway. If we are flying, we are committed, so and I'll get the gear up and feather the engine, and we'll do what we can. There's an opening. If I get up over the wires, I can fly down the road, and we can slowly climb our way back up.
Okay.
It's a simple airplane. If you want to fly it, I'll let you fly it. There are no brakes on your side, or I'd let you do everything. I don't put the brakes on. I bring the power up to make sure that they're in the green, but I don't like wearing out the brakes, and since I'm the mechanic, they have to change them. So, go pumps on, and we're ready to go. Like the wind is pretty dead, so we're going to take off. Okay. Skydive traffic. Apache 430 on Papa, staking the active 35. And you can feel that 320 horsepower in this airplane. There's 60. And we're flying. Gear up. Nose down, try to get to 105 as quick as possible. And because we're so short, I want the gear up as quick as possible because you're not going to get back down on the ground and recover. So I want the drag off the airplane as quick as possible. All right. Till we get to 1,000 feet, I keep the engines at max RPM. I want as much climb as I can get out of it. Hot day, heavy airplane, we're still doing 1,500 foot at 110 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, we're above 1,000 foot. I'm going to bring the power back. Climb power is 25 inches of manifold pressure, 25 squared, so 25 on the RPM as well.
You're pulling both throttles back at the same time. You're adjusting both engines
Yes.
at the same time.
How you doing back there? You comfortable?
Great. Very comfortable.
Man, even on a bumpy day, this is a smooth ride. This is nice.
It's pretty nice, isn't it? All right, it's set up for cruise. I'm going to lean it just a little bit. Sure, airplane.
I've got the airplane.
You can do anything you want. This is maneuvering speed, so you can go as steep as you want without having any problems. You've got a ball right in front of you.
Oh, okay. What I was looking for.
And it's an angle of attack indicator as well. Your nose is a little down. Raise it up just a little bit. There you go. And it's not as much of a rudder airplane as you would think it is.
Okay, I'm used to a lot.
I know. That's why I said so. Nose is a little high. Push it down just a bit. You want the
Oh yeah, I see my VSI there.
Yeah, you want the horizon to be about here on the instrument panel.
Okay.
You sit differently than I do. You're actually sitting up. Well, your eyes are about the same as mine. So.
Eagle 8 traffic, going over your 743 Delta Pop is on final 35.
Oh, when you get straight and level. Go ahead and make a steep turn to the left. This is the critical side. So, there you go. Raise the nose just a little. Easy. There you go. Do a 360. Get the feel for it. Doing good. I love the G5s. I never thought I would, but for flying instruments, I grew up in a steam panel like the guy did on the Bonanza, but I like the condensed information.
Look quicker.
You know what's going on faster.
Yeah.
And you're not having to scan so far. Pretty good. Alright, there you go. Roll out. That's 360 there. Nose down just a touch. It wants to climb when you level the wings, just like all airplanes do. It's a pretty nice airplane for wire controls instead of push-pull tubes. And it's nice in the bumps, so.
I think maybe the seats are springed, they might help with that. I feel a spring in mine.
Yeah, they have springs in them, but it still helps with the bumps being heavy.
Yeah.
And having two engines, because you're disturbing more air, so it's not. And down low, we're burning, that one's not right. The fuel flow, like we can't calibrate the fuel flow for some reason, so it's about 11 gallons an hour is what we're running right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull it back just a little bit so we're not burning so much fuel.
So if you lost your right engine, your left engine's your critical engine, and that means that...
Okay, so we're going to do that. I'll bring the engine back to 20 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you follow me first.
Okay.
So you're going to get a dead foot, which...
You're down, full stop, 3-4, Cameron.
That's it. Now let go of the airplane for a second. See, it wants to roll to the right, because it's the right engine. So you know which engine is dead. So now if you were to recover, you come up with the manifold pressure. See, it picks the wing up automatically. And then you bring the RPM up, because it'll come up pretty much naturally anyways. And if you lose the left engine in cruise, it's no different.
Okay, I feel it.
Yeah, it's wanting to fall off a little bit over there.
Big problem is when you get slow, right? If you lose an engine when you're slow, that's when bad things happen.
Yes, and that's what the red line on this instrument is over here.
Okay.
That's VMC, V-speed minimum control, single engine. What that means is if you lose an engine, you can't get below 75 miles an hour, or you will not have control of the airplane. The biggest thing is comfort is to get the engine synced. You hear they're slightly out of sync right now. They're wah,
I can
wah,
hear
wah.
it. Yeah. I thought I was imagining that. I thought it was.
No, that's
okay.
And this does pretty good. You have to play with it. Okay, it's your airplane.
I've got it.
You need trim up or down. It's on the high, up above what it is. So either. Yeah, it's a non-event in the air. I mean, we could have gone full feather, but it's just hard on the engine to do that. So, and it's not that bad at low speed. You have to pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, it's just like your Waco. When you turn final, you can't see shit.
Yeah.
And if you don't
learning patterns for us. Yeah.
And if you don't compensate for it, you're getting bad situations.
Yep.
Same thing with the twin. The biggest problem is that everybody wants to overload light twins. So they shove all this baggage in it, people, fuel, and they lose an engine and it's anemic, it doesn't want to climb. So the saying of the one engine will take you to the side of the crash is true if you don't manage the airplane. Mostly it's keep the nose low and keep the airspeed. Get the airplane as clean as possible, and that means getting the dead engine feathered. If you don't get it feathered, it's a windmill out there, it's a brake. And it really slows the airplane down, and it really pulls on that side because it's got a big disc that's keeping it from, and it's not pulling any air, so it's a big speed brake out there.
Yeah.
So,
like that. So that mirror on the side, that's for checking your gear, right?
yeah, the nose wheel. And there's two of them. There's one on your side and one on mine, so we can just, co-pilot pilot. But
so has this been the only multi-airplane that you've owned and flown, or have you
owned, not flown? I've flown. I got my multi-engine rating in a Piper twin Comanche.
Okay.
I've flown 310s all the way from 58 all the way up to an 85.
How does this airplane compare?
This airplane is the sweetest, easiest, gentlest airplane single engine out of all the ones I've flown, because it's got a huge cord and a big wing, so it lifts. The biggest problem with most light twins is that they want the speed. This airplane's a pig as far as its performance. It's a 150-mile-an-hour airplane. All the other ones are 200-mile-an-hour airplanes. But the sacrifice is that if you lose an engine, you've lost a tremendous amount of lift and thrust. This airplane, because the way the wing is designed with that big Hershey bar out there, it's still got a lot of lift left in it. And if you get the drag off of it, it really doesn't care. The slicker the airplane, the harder it is to manage the single engine, and the more horsepower you have. So if you've got 300 horses, now you've got 300 asymmetrical horses, one on the left side and the critical side. It's pulling like hell, and you have zero thrust on the other side. That's, now you've got to, if you don't get it feathered and get it where it's got no drag on it, it's really wanting to pull. So you'll go down the highway a little bit.
Traffic, mile 800 Charlie Pop.
And we could do an air start. I mean, I could shut one down for you, but you got the idea. It pulls. And it's a non-event in cruise. It really is. I like this airplane because it's economical. Well, you get into the other twins, you're burning 20 a side. That's 40 gallons an hour. Yes, you're doing 200 miles an hour, but still, 40 gallons an hour in cruise and well over 60 in climb, you're burning a lot of fuel. And I'm not that rich. And I like the comfort of this. I mean, you're not a big person, but you can see two big people. We're not.
You could fit two big old fellas up here and still be comfy.
And still be comfortable.
What's your ceiling?
The book says it's 22,000 or 28,000 feet. I don't know. We don't fly above 10,000 feet because we don't have oxygen in the airplane.
I think a lot of people get pressed about that a lot. Like, why don't you just fly high? But that's a big thing. A lot of people aren't comfortable, wearing oxygen. I mean, it's an uncomfortable thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess breathing's more comfortable, but I've never liked the things that go in your nose.
Cannulars, I don't like them either. We flew our Mooney over to Idaho to Sandpoint, which is a long ways up the Panhandle. It's directly across from Glacier National Park, and we flew over Glacier National Park in that Mooney. We brought supplemental oxygen across the mountains because we didn't go through the valleys, and the airplane really was unhappy at 18,000 feet. I mean, it just really didn't want to do much. It was sluggish in everything, and it took a lot of movement of everything to make something happen, and a Mooney is not that way because it's got push-pull tubes in it, so it's usually fingertip. You lose a lot of performance out of the airplane when you take it up high.
I liked the Mooney. Bruce had a Mooney. I flew with him. That's what I got my complex in. It was a good airplane.
Yeah, a great airplane. Economical. You can't beat it for economy. Oh. What else do you want to do?
Whatever you want. I'm just along for the ride.
All right. Well, we'll go back to the airport.
Yep, that works. As usual, my turns to the left are a little better.
Always easier.
I am sitting on the right though, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're not used to sitting side by side.
No, I'm not. Yeah. I guess I've been in more side-by-side airplanes lately though, so I don't really have that excuse anymore. Yeah.
It's good for you to fly over there, especially since you want your CFI, so the more comfortable you get flying on the right side of the airplane, the better. I'll turn just a little more to the southeast. So what do you think? You like it?
I do like it. Yeah, I'd love to get my multi-rating one of these days. I need to.
Got my number.
Yep. You do all your own annuals?
I do the 100 hours, and then I have the I don't have an AI, so I can't do the annual, but I do the 100 hour.
Are y'all a school? Because you have 100 hours?
No.
Okay.
But if I do the 100 hours, that's the annual. The 100 hour and the annual are no different. So basically, I do everything, and then the AI comes back and makes sure I tightened everything up, make sure that I did what I said I did. So I'm going to take the airplane because we're getting close.
You got it. I noticed when you put the gear up, that little lever popped up. Is that just letting you know, hey, gear's up? Does it do the same thing when gear's down?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, it doesn't. Yes, it comes back to the neutral side. It pops up.
Pops up again.
Yes. So the gear speed on this is 120 miles an hour. I can't drop the gear until we get to that. That's structural and the gear doors. You don't want to rip the gear door off the nose. So, kind of slowing down. And this airport's kind of hard to find if you don't know where it is. It's right off the nose over here. It looks like a clump of trees, so you're going, where is it? Yeah. So we're going to cross over midfield. We're going to land to the south because then I don't have to taxi as far.
All right, that sounds good. Airport pretty reasonable. It's a local town. Do they have, you ever have any run-ins with people who don't like airplanes?
No.
No? That's good.
This airport's been here since 1958 or 59.
Oh, good. Y'all ever have any events out here?
We're going to try. We used to, and we've lost a lot of the flying community. They got older and died, and because the property out here is reasonable, people come in and buy the property. There aren't pilots, and so we've kind of lost a little bit of our flying community, but it's coming back. So we're at 120. I'm going to drop here. We're on the mains. Closed. Fuel pumps are still on, and pops up. I've got 3 green. I've got 1 in the mirror.
Nose looks good on this side.
And my God, yes. One of the things I loved about what you said in one of your videos is why is everybody doing 737 approaches anymore?
I mean, everybody, all the old geezers at the airport, you hear everybody complaining about, but it really is a truth. I guess especially too in something like this. The biggest thing I've always heard is the power changes. That's when the likeliest you're going to have engine problems is power changes. I always wait till the end when I can.
Yeah. Well, you can't pull the power in this until you get all the way close to the ground, or it'll fall out of the... It runs out of...
Have you practiced power off 180s in this airplane?
And it does them just fine. It's speed management, it's energy management. It just doesn't like to flare. You've got to flare real flat because it'll want to stall quickly on you.
And pancake it in?
I did the first time. I'm not going to lie. Skydive traffic, Apache 4309 Papa's downwind for 17. Carb temperature's 54, we're fine. Lap speed.
Top of your wide arc is 100.
Yes.
Right up.
Yeah. Up. And if you don't know where the runway is, you're going, where the hell's the runway?
Like they just mowed it.
It's the middle strip, but if you don't know that, and you have to watch these trees. And they do swirl like hell, so sometimes you get some bad swirls off the end of them. And if you'll pop the door, it'll slow the airplane down. Thank you. Plus it'll get us some air. But see how effective for speed brake it is?
Yeah, how about that? Just imagine if you had two.
Yeah.
It's kind of sporty. I like it.
And we were fast. That's the only reason. It took a little more runway to slow down, but... And I didn't flare the airplane very much. You kind of felt the mains and then the nose come right on. It was okay for an amateur.
Thank you so much. That was a blast. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm on fire to get my multi done. I just haven't wanted to do it now. I kind of do. It's cool.
What headset are you using in your biplane?
I'm using David Clark's.
You like it?
I'm looking for something else. I like Bose, but
I love my Lightspeed.
like we got Lightspeeds too.
Do you use them?
I do. Yeah, not in the biplane, but because I just haven't changed out my flight cap yet. But
all right. Flaps are up. Fuel pumps are coming off.
Well, Philip, thank you so much for letting us fly with you today. Beautiful airplane. I mean, I'm gonna go get my multi now. That's pretty badass. I loved it.
Look forward to hopefully you coming and visiting with me and get you some more time.
Absolutely.
And now that we know where each other are and we're neighbors, it's not that hard to.
Oh yeah. No, it's never too far in an airplane, right? You just hop across real quick.
So.
So how can people find you? You said earlier you were telling me you ferry airplanes.
Yes.
How would you like people to be able to contact you for that?
They can contact me through my email.
Okay.
And that way. If I'll let you have the majority of the jobs, but if you need a co-pilot or
absolutely. I mean, I'm always happy to help somebody out. What do you like to ferry? What kind of airplanes do you like to take up?
Vintage and biplanes and things of that nature. But I will fly the
That's fun stuff.
I will fly the newer airplanes. I like flying RVs.
Any excuse to get in the air. RVs are great. I loved the 8. 8's a badass airplane.
It is
a lot of fun.
So, but I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed flying it.
This is awesome. If you guys saw, I'll have the in-cockpit views posted up and everything. I mean, he's a professional, really just awesome.
Well,
how he handled the airplane, and I don't know, it's just fun. I just love multis, they're cool.
Yeah, I really love this one because you land so slow, and like we told you, throw the door open, and then you're going from
that was fun.
60 to 40 or 40 to 30 to 20 to 10, and then you know it's real quick.
Yeah, definitely. So. Well, thanks Cole also for tagging along. He didn't talk much. He's quiet, but he's eye candy.
Hope you enjoyed it, Cole. I'm sorry you didn't get to fly, but you got to sit in the living room back there.
It really is like a couch back there.
Yeah, it's amazing. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you'll be able to contact Philip for ferry inquiries below. I'll put his email in the description. If y'all have an airplane you'd like to see on the channel, you know what to do. Just comment or email me directly at emma@flyingdigitals.com. And of course, ferry flights, biplane rides, and if you want to check out my project, go to sirenflyingservice.com. We appreciate our patience to our Patreon. I'm getting really good at posting those videos early, so y'all be in tune for that, and we'll see you next time.